Welcome, dear viewer. As you've probably seen from the title, I'm about to do one of the most acclaimed movies that got made into one of the most notoriously bad video games, and that is E.T. for Atari. I'm really happy with the older sprites where they're single color and very much dubious as to what their shape might be because it gives me a lot of possibilities as an artist. And so without further ado, here's the drawing video. Okay, so even more than the other ones, like with Link and Mario, I I kind of immediately knew what I wanted to do with this sprite, because I mean I look at it and I just immediately see a huge mouth, so so you can look forward to that. The the original ET design, I have to say, it has always baffled me. I I love the movie. I think it's great. I even liked it as a kid, but um, I don't think I don't think the movie scared me per se, except the part where like they're in the dissection area or wherever you call it. I think they set it up in the kid's home or whatnot. But yeah, just all of that with the government agents and everything that freaked me out. But the the original movie design just baffles me because it's everything about it is just so ugly and yet so cute. I think I'm not the only one who would say that I would 100% hug ET, and yet you'd think that it would fall in this weird uncanny valley golem monster um type thing. Um it could, ET could have easily been the monster from Pan's Labyrinth that um makes everyone like wanna crawl into our closet and turn all the lights on and scream. But no, he turned out to be more of a cute little Yoda kind of guy. Which I mean, I guess that's the Spielberg touch. That goes into that, and a lot of the characterization and the puppeteers and whatnot did a really good job with that. And the designers, obviously. I don't want to just brush that off. So yeah, I drew the legs very weirdly to begin with. And so I was drawing it very far out, but then I realized that I needed the leg to be behind the little jaw segment there, and then I eventually figure out that I need to switch the back leg to match that, which I should be doing soon. I use the lasso to kind of bring the there it goes. I use the lasso to bring the foot down, and then adjust the leg accordingly, so then it looks a little bit better. As for the the ET game, I mean, I don't if you spent more than one day on the internet or know anything about, or even before then, like I'm sure there are a bunch of old people who don't really spend much time on the internet, but yet would still remember the Atari crash and ET because of all the news coverage and everything. So you probably don't need me to tell you how bad it is, but I have played it, not on the Atari, but I had this small emulation version. So I was given the link or the download file, whatever you call it, by my professor in a film and media history course. And so near the end of the course, we dove into video games, and so we played a lot of interesting old games, including E.T. And yeah, it's just incomprehensible. The sounds are grating, and I mean, I'm aware that the Atari 2600 does not have the best sound system in that regard, holding up to modern scrutiny, but I mean, it's possible to make something there. But yeah, the soundtrack to the E.T. game was not it. I had no idea what I was doing. There are times his neck raises a couple times, but I don't know if it had any functionality whatsoever, and I would just randomly die, or I wasn't sure if I was dead or if I teleported. And I went on these weird elevators. I think you can meet men that like may or may not kill you later on in the game. I didn't even get that far. I didn't spend much time going through it. I mean, I barely play normal games, so I certainly wouldn't subject myself to hours of a basically unanimously decided broken game. I remember I saw some kind of video type thing. I'm trying to remember if it was in the film and media history class, or because of that I looked up on YouTube or something. But anyway, I'm sorry to the creator that I don't remember who you are or what the video was, but I did see something about the ET creation process and just how it was these terrible constraints for this programmer. And obviously he wasn't aware that he was basically going to cause the crash of video games before Nintendo stepped in later on in the 80s. But yeah, it's just major constraints. I guess didn't know the hardware super well. Maybe a little bit of hubris. It's what we like to hear in these stories, but especially with video game development or television development, especially animation and stuff like that, it's more often than not just overworked people. And I can't really blame them. I mean, I certainly haven't been under that much consistent stress with the financial factor and everything. And the stress I have felt in school and whatnot, it's just not something that I'd want to wish on someone. You know, and it basically just, if I make any points, it's that when you see something bad, just take that emotional response and just store it away a tiny bit away from the person that might have created it. And more often than not, it's not a big deal. I mean, maybe someone tried their hardest and made a terrible game, and then that's fine. There are plenty of terrible games out there. You don't have to play it, don't have to buy it. And a lot of the times it does come from the top, and then if you get angry at anyone, then yeah, it's whoever's not on the ground floor who's exploiting everyone who's actually working on the game, you know? I didn't mean to get this real into the video. I don't script these, as you have probably, or as you could probably tell, judging just from this amount of video that you've seen, or if you've seen any of my other videos. But that's just kind of the way that I do things. It's probably based on laziness, but I also wanted to create this more natural feeling thing. I mean, I'm sure I'll script something down the line. I mean, I want to, probably not on the YouTube platform. I kind of want to use the YouTube platform for the things I create, so then my more planned and drawn out things, like a couple graphic novels that I'd like to at least begin, if not finish, or if they don't make it through in the form that I assume that they're going to be. But yeah, in this one I didn't block out the color originally, because I wanted to make sure that some shapes kept their integrity, like with the mouth and everything. And with these sketches, I might make it different for non-pixels reanimated content, but for these I've just been doing single layer. Sorry, I'm doing a a copyright-free space ambiance video, just as kind of the background, and its volume is fluctuated a little bit. But yeah, so my ET is looking a bit like a demon frog, which is, you know, kind of, that's okay. I'm fine with some demon frogs. And I collect my colors beforehand. See, I have this weird conundrum, because, well, I love how things look in black and white. So I will, like, stark contrast. When it looks good, it looks really good. But I do like making things in color, but I am definitely most comfortable with monochromatic things that I can then work with. So I was really excited with this sprite, because I can just have the single color and then work off of it. So, like, obviously I did some yellow in the eyes, and I worked in with the teeth and whatnot, and for the since the mouth that I saw was so wide, I gave it kind of the Tyrannosaurus Rex flaps, which I don't know if that'd be paleontologically accurate. I haven't kept up super well with that. As most kids probably do, I had a major dinosaur phase when I was really young, but I haven't kept really up with that. So I don't know how accurate that is now, but in media such as Jurassic Park and everything, you always see the kind of the thinner cheek membranes for them to open their jaws wider. And it always gives it that kind of alien reptilian look. And I've definitely overused it, if you can use that word, but it's one of my main go-to things for kind of monstrous artworks that I do. My first one is tiny eyes with a ton of dark marks around it. It's a very quick way. It gives you this kind of the anglerfish feeling, and going along with that, obviously the needly teeth together. That's an easy one. Big mouths, easy one. I also like going with low mouths. Like if you go for the kind of the uneasy humanoid alien feel, the no mouth can be really cool. Which I have kind of a weird perspective on things. I love animals. My mother hates rodents and snakes. I think they're cute. I mean, I know I wouldn't just let them run free in my house. I'm not quite at that level, but I worked at a zoo and whatnot, and I can see some snakes and be like, oh, that's kind of cute. And even alligators I've done before. I mean, it's just this, as I've grown up and kind of out of the irrational fear, like I used to be really afraid of spiders and snakes and that kind of thing, and as I've grown up, and not to say that that's just a natural process, it's just how it happened with me. I know that phobias can last for a very long time in a lot of people. But it's just like, oh, these are also living creatures, and there are a lot of parameters of like how they can cause damage and whatnot, but then they have their own way of living, their own niche, and it just kind of put the fear into a more logical perspective. And so yeah, so all of that to be a very long-winded explanation for me saying that I did give my ET a pretty monstrous look, but I think he's still kind of cute. I mean, I gave it the kind of the slanted snake eye type thing, but you know, I added in the highlights. I didn't make the eye sockets too terribly defined. I gave him I guess he's an herbivore because I gave him really flat teeth, and you know, maybe he's happy. I mean, he looks like he could be smiling, could be singing the song of his people. Even though I don't think I gave him nostrils. That's probably why his mouth's open. He just has a very inefficient way of obtaining oxygen. So I didn't give him gills either. So yeah, I hope he's thriving. Maybe on his planet you don't need much to survive, and he was just able to adapt well. I'm not sure he'd do so hot on Earth, unless he had the powers that E.T. had in the movie. I mean, maybe you don't need excessive strength or mobility if you can heal yourself over and over again, or if you can communicate well enough between your alien peers. So yeah, maybe it wouldn't have been as iconic, but I think my little monster could have potentially been a movie mascot. I don't think he's quite grotesque enough to be canceled out of that. I'm just imagining this is a Pokemon or something. Just like, go Pikachu! Use Thunderbolt! Go E.T. What is that? What do you mean, what is that? I just found it. It's Pokemon, isn't it? I've never seen a Pokemon that looks like that. But I would still love him. He'd be my friend. And we're not going to get into the tired old joke about Pokemon ethics and whether it's just fancy dog fights. Because the anime's for kids and it says that they're friends, so I'm gonna take them at their word. And so here I'm finishing up here. I use my usual white highlight trick. I use just a lighter shade of yellowish green because that looks a little bit better with this palette. And then I add a couple of white highlights within the lighter green. So it's not very intense, but sometimes I'll do that just to kind of give a semblance of blending in these works where I don't actually blend, where it's not as much of a painterly style. But yeah, this is I'd say this is my favorite so far. I mean, I've only done 3 of them. This is my 3rd one, but it is my favorite. And so here's the end product that I have, where I do the usual shadow of the sprite. And yeah, I think Big Mouth E.T. turned out pretty well in my mind. So yeah, I'll be posting this to my Instagram. You can find that on my channel where you see the links in the top right, or I put all my links in my description from Linktree. And if you like this video, please give it a like and comment if you'd like to, and I'll try to respond if I can. And be sure to subscribe to see my future content. I post stuff daily, whether it's gaming, I'm playing Omori right now, or more art stuff. And until next time, viewers.